As our soil temperatures are warming up and they're reaching above 60 degrees, it's time to start planting our tomatoes. This is something that we're all excited to do and we anticipate every spring. Now, you may have remembered that we took a soil sample in our vegetable garden earlier this season, and we've got those results back. Now, it actually works out perfect for us because we had low nitrogen, high phosphorus, and moderate potassium, which is ideal for a tomato. If you didn't have this soil nutrition, what you'd want to do is get a complete fertilizer that has the ratio of about a 10-20-10 and put 1 to 2 pounds of that and just scatter it over 100 square feet. And as we're planting, you would incorporate that fertilizer. Now again, our soil test results said that we have good nutrition here, so we don't need to do that. When you go to a nursery, a lot of times you get different types of plants coming in all sorts of containers. You can see we have a 6-pack here, we have a peat pot, and then we have some that we grew ourselves in a 6-inch container. And it really doesn't matter what they come in. You just want to make sure that you're getting the appropriate tomato for your purpose. What we have here is a Roma tomato, which is a paste tomato. And you can see it's fairly short. It has a little bit of root system to it, and we're just going to tease those out. Now, you want to plant your tomato about 5 to 6 inches deep. So here we're just going to go ahead and dig a hole and plant that in. We're not too concerned about the wind whipping this because it's not very tall. The other thing that's nice about when you get these from nurseries is they've been hardened off because they've been exposed to less ideal conditions than what they were probably receiving in the greenhouse. Now, if you get a tomato that comes in a peat pot, what you're going to want to do is actually tear off this plastic that lines it. You can plant it in this peat. You just want to make sure that that is not exposed to the air when you're planting it. If you want to go ahead and pull a little of the bottom off to allow those roots, that's good to do. We're just going to go ahead and bury that down in there. The other thing to notice here is we actually have 2 plants growing in this, and this is something you might want to take into account. We're going to just break this one off, pinch it with our fingers or with pruners, because really we just want 1 plant to grow. If we put 2 in this hole, they would be competing and they would both sacrifice a little bit. Now, a lot of times when you get a plant in, it might be much taller than those that we've already planted. This is an heirloom variety called Gold Rush, and you can see it's quite large and tall. Now, if we brought this in from the greenhouse, brought this out from the greenhouse, you would be concerned about the wind whipping it out in the garden. So what we're actually going to do, and tomatoes are one of the plants that you can do this to, is bury it deeper than what it was planted in the pot. So we're just going to dig our hole deeper and actually cover some of that stem up. There's another method that you can use when you're dealing with a tall tomato plant, and that's to dig a trench and lay the tomato down into that trench. Now here we have a taller tomato, and what you want to do is remove any of those smaller side branches that will be buried, such as that, and lay it down. You don't want to break the stem. That's important not to break it, but just simply kind of curve that stem up out of the ground and press firmly around that tomato plant, and you can see what was a taller tomato plant that you might be concerned about it breaking in the wind is now a much shorter plant, and along that stem it will grow a lot of roots that will give you a bigger root system. Whichever method you use to plant tomatoes, you want to make sure that you finish off your planting hole by digging a small well around those plants. Of course, after you plant these tomatoes, you want to make sure that they get a good drink of water. Now, we've planted some Roma tomatoes. some Jetstar, and some Heirloom. The Heirloom a lot of times don't have the same resistance as some of your cultivars such as Jetstar and Better Boy. You can look at the label on some of these cultivars to find that they are resistant to Fusarium and Verticillium wilt if that's a concern in your garden. Even though they say it's time to start planting in Oklahoma, we all know that we tend to get some of those late freezes here. So if you haven't used a wall of water, this might be something you want to add to your arsenal. Basically, it's just a thin piece of plastic that you slip over a tomato plant, and then you fill the cells with water. You might want to alternate the sides as you're filling that water to help support it. And the nice thing about these is these actually serve as a greenhouse to protect those tomatoes when the temperatures might be dropping a little. Now, if you leave it over your tomato and it does get warmer, you want to make sure to open the top of that so that it allows for airflow in there. If you want more information on growing tomatoes, check out our fact sheet.
We hope you enjoyed this video. It's part of our Oklahoma Gardening YouTube channel. You can also find even more videos on our OK Gardening Classics YouTube channel. And join us on social media for great gardening tips, photos, and discussion.